Yes, we have read that there was the great stone face. Okay, it was just, you can say, the heap of rocks, right? And then because of that rocks, a mountain was formed. And then if seen, you can say at a proper distance, then the human features could be seen. But if you go near, then you won't be able to see the human features. Okay, so there was a boy named Ernest. He was very good boy, very kind, loving, caring, and his mother told him about a prophecy that sometime in future some child would be born, and that child would be the, you can say, the greatest and the noblest person of his time. And when the child would come, then the prophecy would be true, something like that. Okay, means the person, the child that was born, that would be born, would resemble the great stone face. Okay, would resemble the features and would resemble the great stone. This was the prophecy. So Ernest, he was, you can say, very innocent. He believed in that prophecy, and he was waiting for the man to come. He was waiting for the man to come, and he wanted to meet that man, because for him, that great stone face was just like the teacher. Okay. Now we are on page number 126. Just check your book. What is the page number according to your book? It's 126 according to mine, or 122. So last we have read that there was a rumor throughout the valley that finally the great stone face, the resemblance to that great stone face had appeared, and the name of that person was Gather Gold, and he was a businessman. Okay, he was born there in the valley and decided to move out for business purpose, you can say. And then he was very wealthy, quite rich, and then he decided to come back to his valley and live there. Okay, so now let's see what about the prophecy. Who will read? Participants. Okay. Yes, Prabal.
Yes, ma'am. Ernest had been deeply stirred by the idea that the great man, the noble man, the man of prophecy, and after so many ages of delay, was at length to be seen in his native valley. While the boy was still gazing up the valley one day and imagining that the great stone face returned his gaze, the noise of wheels was heard, and a crowd of people cried, "Here comes the great Mr. Gattergold." A carriage drawn by
Wait.
four horses.
Wait, Prabal. So Ernest was moved by the idea that he was now going to meet that noble man, that man who resembles the face of the great stone face. Okay, so he was, you can say, very excited. He wanted to meet that. It was just kind of his wish, right? That was coming true. So he was just waiting for it. The phrase that is at length, this was at length. This phrase, this means after a long time. After a long time. Okay. So it was like after so many ages of delay, after a long time, or finally that face, he would be able to see the face, same face. Okay. So the boy, he was gazing up the valley one day and he was imagining the great stone face, and then he was just imagining that the great stone face was also looking at him. So then what happened? Then he heard the noise of wheels, and then people started crying that here comes the great Mr. Gathergold. Mr. Gathergold. Next is, okay, Prabal, continue.
Yes, sir. A carriage drawn by four horses dashed around the turn of the road. Within it, Thrust partly out of the window appeared the face of an old man with yellow skin.
Wait, Prabal. Now what happened? A carriage, it came and people means there appeared a face of an old man, okay, with yellow skin. That's it. Okay, then प्रबल ने म्यूट कर लिया खुद को. प्रबल, read again.
The very image of the great stone face, shouted the people. Sure enough, the old prophecy is true. Here we have the great man at last.
Wait. Now, Hardik, dashed mean travel, you can say, when in hurry. Okay, quickly. So run quickly, you can say run or travel in hurry, such. Okay, so now what happened in that carriage? There was a man, old man with yellow skin. Everybody, they started shouting that the old prophecy is true and we finally have our great man. Okay, so now the prophecy was came true and they were able to see the great stone face, the resemblance of that great stone face. एक नूर, change your name, rename yourself and then join, जैसे कल बताया था. जयवंत, read.
Yes, ma'am. And what greatly puzzled Ernest, they seemed actually to believe that their hair was the likeness which they spoke of. He turned away sadly from the wrinkled sternness of that unpleasant face and gazed up the valley, where the stone face seemed to say, "He will come, fear not, Ernest.
Okay,
The
so
man will come."
now what happened that the boy Ernest, he was puzzled, means he was not happy. Earlier he was excited, he wanted to see the great stone resemblance, Mr. Gathergold. But when the man came, Ernest was puzzled. Why was he puzzled? Because he was not able to see any likeness. Okay, that he was dreaming, you can say. He was looking for that, he was dreaming. Okay, so he turned away sadly and from that wrinkled shrewdness here you can write that judgment. There was some kind of judgment on that face. The face was unpleasant earlier. We know, according to Ernest, the great stone face was very kind, gentle, right? But that face of Mr. Gathergold was not at all that kind, that pleasant. So then Ernest was disappointed. Then he started looking at that great stone face again, and it seemed to him, okay, he imagined that the great stone face was saying that don't worry, Ernest, the resemblance, that man would come. Okay, उसे feel हुआ that the great stone face was trying to console him, was trying to convey this, that need you are not supposed to worry, don't worry. And then the man who will bear the resemblance would definitely come. Okay, so it means Mr. Gathergold was not the man, okay, that who resembled the great stone face. Judgment, Hardik. Judgment. Now, second part. Who will read? Again, Jayvant. Chalo, Jayvant, aap read. Start karo reading. After
The years
Jayvant,
went
others
on
will.
and Ernest. The years went on, and Ernest grew to be a young man. He attracted little notice from the inhabitants of the valley. They saw nothing remarkable in this way of life, except that when the labor of the day was over, he still loved to gaze upon the great stone face. Their idea was that this was a folly, but pardonable because Ernest was industrious, kind, and neighborly. They did not know that the great stone face had become a teacher to him, and that sentiment which was expressed in it would enlarge the young man's heart. and fill it with deeper sympathies than other hearts. They did not know that from this world come a better wisdom than could be learned from books. Neither did Ernest know that the thoughts which came to him so naturally in the fields and at the fireside were of a higher tone than those which all men shared with him. A simple soul, simple as when his mother first told him this old story, he beheld the marvelous face looking down the valley and still wondered why its human likeness was so long in coming.
So now, as the years passed, so Ernest now became a young man, okay, and he attracted little notice. Means he was just a, you can say, common, ordinary man. Nobody noticed him because he hadn't done anything remarkable, okay. So otherwise, also we have read that he was very quiet, he was mild, gentle kind of boy. So when he grew up, still he didn't attract any notice. Okay, nobody noticed him much. Just normal person. So what was this? Why was this? Because they saw nothing remarkable. But the only thing that was different, it was that after his work, after the day's work, he still used to sit there and gaze upon the great stone face. Okay, वो अभी भी great stone face की तरफ, जैसे जब वो बच्चा था तब देखता था. He still watched, he still gazed, he still looked, you can say, looked at that great stone face. Okay, as he was waiting for the prophecy to come true. And in addition to this, for him, the great stone face was his teacher. Okay, so the people, that inhabitants, according to them, it was a, you can say, foolishness to just continuously gaze the mountain. उन्हें ये लगता था ये एक foolishness है, ठीक है, but pardonable means वो उसे excuse कर सकते थे because वो चीज harm नहीं कर रही थी किसी को, ठीक है. It was foolish, but it was pardonable means it can be forgiven. Okay, so because Ernest was industrious, he was hardworking. Industrious means he was hardworking. He was kind and neighborly. He was very helpful. Neighborly, he was helpful. Okay, so because of his good qualities, that stupid thing he used to do, people were okay with that. Okay, they didn't have any problem with him continuously gazing at that great stone face. Okay, so but for the inhabitants, they didn't know the importance of, you can say, for what was the importance of the great stone face in Ernest's life. For Ernest, great stone face was very important. The great stone face was his teacher, and the great stone face has actually, you can say, had given him many emotions, many sentiments were attached, you can say. And then he had learned so many things from the great stone face just by gazing. Okay, he had learned so many good things, wise things from that great stone face that he could not learn from the books. Okay, so neither did Ernest know that the thoughts which came to him so naturally in the field of the fireside were of higher tone. Means it was that लोगों को नहीं पता था कि वो उसके लिए बहुत important है. Means the great stone face was very important for Ernest. Okay, see, a simple soul. Again, this is about Ernest character sketch. Okay, he was a simple soul, and kitna simple, he was so simple that when his mother first told him the story, okay, he was just he still was holding that story. Okay, that story was still in his mind, and he was waiting for that story to come true. Okay, so from that time onwards, he was continuously looking at the valley, at the great stone face, and was waiting for the man to come so that he could talk to him. Manaswal. Good morning.
By this time, was the gather was dead, and was his when spit was the body. and spirit of his existence had disappeared before death. Since the mystic amount of his gold, it has been generally agreed that there was no great likeness. After all, being a merchant and the majestic face upon it, it so happened that
Wait. So now, as the time passed, Mr. Gathergold, the man who resembled the great stone face earlier, was dead, okay, and buried. His wealth, that was the, you can say, main reason why people decided that the great Mr. Gathergold resembled the great stone face. उसकी wealth के कारण लोगों ने समझा था कि ये जो है वो great stone face है, okay, because of his wealth. So it means Ernest was correct. Mr. Gathergold didn't resemble the great stone face. Okay, Ernest was correct because Ernest के दिल में ऐसी कोई चीज थी नहीं. He wasn't greedy. वो कुछ पीछे नहीं पैसों के भागता था. But other people, for them, when they saw that the man, Mr. Gathergold, was very rich, so they decided, okay, that he resembled, and they started giving him the importance. Okay, but as when he died, his wealth disappeared. Okay, means that time when he died, he was poor, he was lonely. ठीक है, उस टाइम पे उसके पास पैसे भी नहीं थे, and he was all alone because जैसे उसके पैसे खत्म हुए, people they started they agreed that there was no likeness. Okay, and they stopped giving importance to him. They started ignoring Mr. Gathergold. जब तक पैसा था, people, the inhabitants of the valley, they were giving him importance, and as soon as his gold, his wealth, you can say, it disappeared, they agreed with Ernest that there was no great likeness. And then after all, between the ruined merchant and the majestic face, there was no likeness between the merchant, that Gathergold, and the great stone face. Gurnur?
Yes, ma'am. It so happened that another son of the valley had become a soldier many years before. After a great deal of hard fighting, he was now a famous commander. He was known on the battlefield by the name of Blood and Thunder. Old and tired now, he had lately expressed a desire to return to his native valley. The inhabitants, his old neighbors, and their grown up children prepared to welcome the re- renowned
Commander.
commander. It was being said that at last, the likeness of the great stone face had actually appeared. Great, great. Therefore was the excitement throughout the valley, and many peoples who had never once thought of gazing at the great stone face now spent much time in gazing at it for the sake of knowing exactly how General Blood and Thunder looked.
Okay, so now after Mr. Gathergold, again a kind of rumor, you can say, started that a soldier who became a man, okay, son of that valley only, that man was born in the valley, so he became soldier, and now he was very good at that, you can say, his work, and very famous commander, and in the battlefield, because of his bravery, you can say, he got the name, that is the name was Blood and Thunder. Okay, Blood and Thunder. And now he was old, so he decided to return to his valley, and the people, the inhabitants of the valley, they were now preparing for his welcome. And why so? Because again, for them, they heard this, that finally the great stone face, the likeness of the great stone face is here, and then they were waiting for Mr. Blood and Thunder to come so that they could see him. Okay, now the people who earlier काफी लोग थे जो believe ही नहीं कर रहे थे prophecy में, they also started looking at the great stone face so that they could have some idea how that person Blood and Thunder would look. Okay, so now there is, you can say, another entry. Okay, first was Mr. Gathergold, businessman. Second, Blood and Thunder, General Blood and Thunder, and he was a soldier. Okay, so now Gurnur, read again.
Yes, ma'am. On the day of General's arrival, Ernest and all the other people of the valley left their work and proceeded to the spot where a great banquet had been prepared. Soldiers stood on guard, flags waved, and the crowd roared. Ernest was standing too far back to see Blood and Thunder's face. However, he could hear several voices.
Now what happened that on the day of the general's arrival, means Blood and Thunder's arrival, what happened that everybody, they just decided to be on that spot. Okay, and there was a grand welcome from soldiers, flags were waved, crowd was, you can say, cheering. Okay, so Ernest was now standing far back and he was just looking at the face. Okay, he was just looking at the face because उसे फिर दोबारा fame से कोई लेना देना नहीं था. Okay, he had nothing to do with Blood and Thunder's fame. Okay, nothing to do with his bravery. Okay, he just wanted to see the face. He just wanted the resemblance. He wanted someone kind, peaceful, gentle, like the great stone face. Prabal, this was the name given to that man, okay, the soldier, Blood and Thunder, because of his bravery in that battlefield. Okay, so it is the time, it is the same face exactly, cried one man, dancing for joy. So now people, one man, he was crying that this is the same face, and he was very happy. Okay. Hardik, it's banquet halls hote na, that. Okay, now Gurnur, read.
Yes, ma'am. It's the same face exactly, cried one man, dancing for joy. Wonderfully like it. That's a fact, replied another. And why not? Cried a third. He's the greatest man of this or any one
Other age.
or any other age beyond about
A
a
doubt.
doubt.
Beyond a doubt. So now what happened that wonderfully, but means people, they were just shouting, they were happy, they claimed that the face resembled the great stone face, and then they were just discussing why not, because that Blood and Thunder, he was the greatest man of his age, very brave, noblest. Okay, just as the prophecy has told. Okay, then Ernest at last could see the general's face, and in the same glance to the side, he could also see the great stone face. If there was such a likeness as the crowd proclaimed, Ernest could not recognize it. So again, when Ernest saw this, the face, he was not able to find any resemblance. Okay, so it means now, according to Ernest, he was not able to find the resemblance, the likeness that people were talking about. जो लोग बोलते जा रहे थे that there was some kind of resemblance, Ernest was not able to find any. Now it was clear, हम सोच सकते हैं that the people they actually अभी भी आजकल भी we are attracted towards wealth, fame, और उस जो इंसान फेमस है, जो इंसान वेल्दी है, हम उसको हर चीज मान लेते हैं, right? So same was the thing here. Fear not, Ernest, said his heart, as if the great stone face was whispering to him. Fear not, Ernest, he will come. So he again imagined that that great stone face was trying to console him that don't worry, no need to worry, no need to be afraid. You just wait, and the great stone, that resemblance, that man will come. Okay, so this is the first part. Now, what you want to do? You want to read the next part first or question answers first? Your choice. पहले question answers करने हैं हमने इस chapter के, या next chapter read करें और दोनों के question answers इकट्ठे करें? Okay, Bani. Okay, Manaswi, Jayant. What about others? You can also tell. Okay, Prabal, जितने मेरे पास अभी messages आए हैं उसके according next chapter. So we'll start next chapter tomorrow. ठीक है? Let's discuss question. Only Hardik is saying question answers. चलो हार्दिक की भी बात मानते हैं. Let's discuss true or false. Okay? True or false? The great stone face stood near where Ernest and his mother lived. True. Hurry up, जल्दी से answers दो. Manasvi is saying false. Why, Manasvi? What is your reason? और कोई एग्री करता है मनस्वी के आंसर से? ही इज सेइंग फॉल्स. हरी अप. ट्रू. Okay. I just want to listen what Manasvi has to say. Manasvi, please बताओ आप क्यों false कह रहे हो? Maybe I.
वो सेकंड लाइन
हाँ जी.
मैम सेकंड लाइन है प्ले टू थिंक टू माइंड.
Yes, I also think it is written in the beginning that miles away. It was where it is. Yes, it is. They had only to lift their eyes and there it was plain to be seen. Though miles away. It was miles away, but can be seen easily. This is the scene. He could not see it. He was able to see it. The great stone face stood near where Ernest and his mother lived. No, I think it is false. मेरे according भी ये false आना चाहिए, क्योंकि they were able to see that face, क्योंकि the mountain was quite huge. But again it is mentioned कि वो काफी दूर था. You just see, देखो तुम्हें क्या लगता है? Let's discuss the next. One would clearly, yes, according to me also it's false. अगर तुम्हें true के लिए और evidence मिलते हैं तो कल मुझे बताओ. Then we'll go for true. ठीक है? Then one would clearly distinguish the features of the stone face only from a distance. Second is true. Yes. Second is true. Correct. Second true. Ernest loved his mother and helped her in her work. Correct. Bhavika. Only Bhavika has given the answer. Yes, correct. Jevan. True. It's true. Then is, though not very rich, Gathergold was a skillful merchant. What do you think? Wasn't he rich? He was very rich. Yes. False. This is false. Next, Gathergold died in poverty and neglect. This is true. When he died, he was all alone. When he died, he was alone. Last, again, the great stone face seemed to suggest that Ernest should not fear the general. Means he should not be afraid of the that blood and thunder. True. Sixth, true. True. Why true? वो से ये कह रहा कि तुम्हें जनरल से डरने की जरूरत नहीं है, या अदरवाइज जब भी हम किसी से बात करते हैं हम कहते हैं ना, डोंट वरी, चिंता मत करो, फिक्र मत करो, डोंट बी अफ्रेड, एवरीथिंग विल बी फाइन. Isn't it like that? Otherwise, I don't think Ernest was afraid of that blood and thunder. Just think about it, and कल मुझे इसका आंसर भी तुमने देना है, फर्स्ट का एंड सिक्स्थ का आंसर. You have to give me these two answers.